ये आपकी बंदा परवरी है वगरना मैं कौन हूँ मैं क्या हूँ। मेरा तारुफ बस इतना ही है, अतुल हूँ, अतुल हजेला हूँ। Born and brought up in New Delhi to parents Ishwarnarayan Hajela, my father, and Prem Saxena, my mother. I was the youngest in a family of three. So, perhaps the most pampered, maybe a tad spoiled, but that is who I am. The first year of my education was Nursery 1 and Nursery 2 at a school called Frank Anthony Jr. And then from KG to class 12, 13 years in a single school, St. Columba's. So that is who I am. Talking about my parents, Dad and his family were from Agra. Dad actually was Delhi born. Mom was born in Gujranwala, which is now a part of Pakistan. She, along with her family, came to India in 1947 when the country was partitioned. It was a very mixture of tradition and modernity that I grew up in. I remember, like I said, the youngest and the most pampered. I would call my parents by their names at times, and I was never pulled up for it. But then, on the other hand, I remember there used to be this gentleman, an elderly gentleman. His name was Muhammad Yaqub, who was the tailor. And my dad would always address him as Hafiz Ji. One day, the gentleman had come and I said, Master ji, ye patloon ki modi zara tang kijiye. And before I knew, my dad slapped me across the face. And he said, तेरा बाप हाफिज जी कहता है और तू मास्टर जी कहता है. I didn't realize what it meant, to be honest. But subsequently, when I realized, I said, okay, ये थी हमारी तरबियत. On the other hand, I was still in single digits at a party. I heard my dad talking. And he said, oh, this is my youngest son. He was born on the 19th of September. And on the 5th of October, I had my vasectomy done. It did not make any sense to me. But later, when I asked him what it meant, he explained it to me like somebody would explain it to a child, that after me, he could not have had any other child. So that is where the modernity came in. And इसलिए मैंने कहा कि ये हमारी तरबियत थी. It was a melange, a mixture of both the modern and the tradition. Grew up in the walled city in Delhi, where I think 30% people were Muslims. So the festivals that we celebrated were Holi, Diwali, Dussehra, Choti Eid, Badi Eid, Shab-e Barat, Muharram. These were the ones that were celebrated. But there were certain others like the Indian religious things of Janmashtami and Mahashivratri, which were more like, going to the temple to see all the tableaus and all the decorations. It wasn't a celebration. And then I would also have to speak about Eid if Ramzan came during the summer months. In that time, Delhi, there was always a shortage of milk in the summer months. All milk products would be banned. But if Ramzan came in the summer months, then there was just one mithai shop, Shri Bhavan, और उसको permission मिलती थी to make all milk products. Half of Delhi used to go to the Shri Bhavan. तो छोटी ईद पे सेवई, बड़ी ईद पे गोश्त, ये हमारे घर आ जाता था. And there was no such thing at that time. जो कुर्बानी होती थी वो बकरे की होती थी, though there was really no hard fast rule that, a cow could not be slaughtered. There was no aversion to it. It was accepted, and it happened, and people did not mind it. अपनी जिंदगी में the first, Hindu-Muslim riots, if you can call them, I saw was in the emergency of Mrs. Gandhi. And then it didn't really have to do with Hindu-Muslim. It was the family planning that became an issue, and the Muslims revolted against being forced into family planning. So those were the only riots that I really saw between Hindu and Muslims. Apart from that, it was a very mixed culture. Like I said, about 30% of my neighborhood was Muslim. I had Muslim friends. Christians, not that much, till such time that I went to Columbus. And then, of course, I was a reborn Christian. Having said that, as I've grown old, I think religion has taken more of a hit with every successive year in my life. Today, if anyone can tell me religion has been good for mankind, I would readily accept that religion. I don't think any religion has. So I keep away from it. Everything is social. Socially, I consider myself Hindu, but religiously, I don't know what I consider myself. I don't consider myself anything. Moving on, क्योंकि ये प्लेटफॉर्म पार्टीशन सर्वाइवर्स और उनके ऑफस्प्रिंग्स का है, so I thought major part of my talk I do about that. So starting on that, like I said, my parents, one from India, one from what is Pakistan. So mummy और उनकी family, they came to India in 1947. And it was summer vacation. So मेरी एक mother, एक मामू. There were 5 of them. My elder Kalra was about 15. Mom was 14. The one after that was 13, just above 13. So ये तीनों और मेरा मामू, for the summer vacation, they had already come to Dehradun, where the chacha was. It was only my nana, my nani, and my youngest Kalra, जो 11 अगस्त 1947 को गुजरांवाला से आई. मेरी नानी कहा करती थी कि उनकी जो ट्रेन थी वो लास्ट ट्रेन थी जो गुजरांवाला से जम्मू पहुंची, जिसमें कोई कत्ल नहीं हुआ. उसके बाद जितनी भी गाड़ियां आईं उसमें कोई इंसान जिंदा नहीं बचा. मेरी माँ की माँ बोली पंजाबी, मेरी दिल्ली की. ददिहाल में मैं रहा. इट वॉज अ जॉइंट फैमिली. सो मेरी ज़बान दिल्ली की टकसाली ज़बान है. इट हैज़ उर्दू इन इट. इट्स हिंदुस्तानी, दैट्स आई वुड कॉल इट. इट्स नॉट हिंदी, इट्स नॉट उर्दू. बट मैनू फक्र हैगा कि मैं पंजाबी बोल सकना, पर लोगों को समझ लगता है कि मेरी पंजाबी जिहड़ी हैगी ना वो किसी काम की नहीं हैगी. But then I said, that is not my language. It is an acquired language, thanks to my nanny. Now going back to my mother and her family, it was a very nice thing that my nana used to say and mom used to say. Okay, you should see the perspective. And they would say, साडे लोकां लई तकसीम सीगा, partition सी. But across the border, उन लोकां लई it was birth of a new country. So they came into existence. So the sentiment on both sides of the border were very different. It was not the same. And I think acceptance of that fact is where lies the main issue. If people on both sides can have that concept, I don't think there should be any reason for any adversity. But over the period of time, that has not happened. And hopefully, this forum may change it. And I hope it does. Like they say, it's one of those shares. सैफ अंदाज़े बयां रंग बदल देता है, वरना दुनिया में कोई बात नहीं. So there's nothing new in what I'm saying. It's just that this is what it is. And they grew up like that. They had affiliations. My Nana had two very dear friends. Till the end, my Nani would call one of them Jamal Traori, and my mother, my Mamu, my Khalas would always call him Jamal Chatterjee, right till the very end. This Jamal was none other than Jamal Bhutta, the person who created or started the Nishtar Medical College. Another of my Nana's friends was Muhammad Ali Chaudhry, who became the Prime Minister of Pakistan. And my Nana did go and meet him. And Jamal Chatterjee did come over to India and met the family and went shopping with the family and stuff. And they said goodbye to each other at railway station in the 50s. And I think after that, they never met. Though there was an exchange of letters for quite a while between my Nana and him. So if any part of his family sees this, maybe they would know something about him. They would have heard like we have. It's the third generation, but we have heard. Like my Nana would say, oh, Jamal मैनू कहंदा सी, सागर तू तां कदी मेडिकल विच आ ही नहीं सकदा, इस करके तू मेडिसिन नहीं करना चाहता. And he would say, I would turn back to him and I would say, Jamal मैं एडमिशन ले लवांगा पर करनी मैं वकालत है. And this is exactly what he did. He got his admission into medicine and then he got out of it and he did his law. And that's what he did. Like I mentioned that, the ages of my khala and my mom at the time of partition. So my mom was just a year or less than a year younger than my eldest khala. And as luck would have it, she got raised by her dadi. So her initial years were not in Gujranwala, they were in Ibn. And I was lucky to have been able to go there and see her school. The gentleman who showed me the school, he said, school होएगा, building थोड़ी बहुत बदल गई है, पर पहले जड़ा वड्डा हॉल होता सी, इधर ही डंगर होंगे सब, उन्हें डंगर नहीं. So I think I saw my mom's initial school, which was nice. And Ibn Wali, I go to and fro, but it was where I took her ashes. And I dispersed part of her ashes in that village. The only description I had was how, they would enter the village and through the second gully and stuff, but I could not really find out where the house was. But coming back to the ashes, it was a bright, sunny day. End of April, it was hot. I, put all the ashes in the field. And as we were driving back from Ibn Wali to Gujranwala, the clouds burst. There was lightning, there was thunder. I don't know what the significance of all that was, but to me it felt as if, even the clouds had welcomed part of the future that she was back into the world and accepted and was grateful that she's back. It's just my thoughts. Could be totally wrong. After all, मौसम है ना, कोई वो तो नहीं है. But still, that's the way I felt. And I felt very good having done that. From there, came to Gujranwala. There were 3 houses there that my grandparents stayed in. The first house was Ram Basti, which is now Jinnah Park. I could not locate the house. I could not find it. That was fine. Mom really didn't stay there because I said her initial years she was in Bengal. After that, there were two other houses. And as luck would have it, both those houses now house school or college for women. The first house was a house opposite what was then called Prakash Talking, right next to the railway line. In that, there's a girls' school, and this house used to house my Nana's clients who would come from out of the city and would stay there for the court cases also. That was the first house, which I saw. I saw the school also, but the second house was a house in Civil Lines, Gujranwala, which was near the courts. That house I could not see. It does not exist, apparently. But then the guide who took me around, after I came back from Pakistan, that guide sent me pictures of the house, which I shared with my Kalra and my mom, and they recognized the house, and that house is a women's college. And I can, show you the pictures of that. It's remarkable. My Nana said, when they left on the 11th of August, they gave the keys to the house to their neighbor. And as they would all say, कि शासन बदलते थे, लोग घर तो नहीं छोड़ते थे, तो हम तो इस उम्मीद से आए थे कि हम वापस पाकिस्तान आएंगे. एक ट्रंक लेके हम आए. The keys were with the neighbor. Later, he was told, or he got a letter saying that, the mobs had burnt your house and everything is gone. But subsequent to that, they did find out that that house had been broken into and people were staying there. So इससे मुझे लगता है कि ये जो सारा कुछ था, ये सिर्फ मजहबी नहीं था. There was an element of greed on the part of people. And people just exploited religion for economical benefits. But again, this is what my feeling is. This is the impression I got from my Nana and my mother and the family. Coming back to religion, like I said, the older I get, the more distant I get from religion. But with that being said, if it matters to you, I'd do anything. If the person matters to me, I can go into a temple, I can go into a mosque, I can go into a gurdwara, I can go into a church, and I could do whatever needs to be done. The last words that Mom would say or said, was Jo tud bhave sai ballikar, tu salamat nirankar. I knew what it meant for her. So on one day, between I think 6 o'clock in the morning and 1 in the afternoon, I visited 2 gurdwaras with ashes. In the morning, I was at the Golden Temple Gurdwara. And later that day, I took the ashes and I was at Nankana's house, Janamsthan. So, yes, that much respect I hold for religion and any religion. Everyone I met in different cities in Pakistan, Lahore, Gujranwala, Islamabad, Rawalpindi, Murree, Nathia Gali, they would all say, even if I spoke in Punjabi, they would reply to me in Punjabi, but they would say, कि आप मुहाजिर हैं, आप तो कराची से आए. So that is what I meant when I said कि दिल्ली की टकसाली ज़बान मेरी ज़बान है. And they felt that, So that is what it is. My Nana's name was Sagar Chand Kalra and my Nani, Sumangli Devi Kalra. As I had mentioned earlier, a very dear friend of my Nana was Dr. Jamal Bhutta. the one who was the founder for the Nishtar Medical College. And he did come to India in the 50s. And my mum, Prem Kalra, and my Khala, Nirmal Kalra, took him shopping. He was here, or he was rather in India, for shopping for his daughter's wedding. I think it was for Suraiya's wedding. The two names that ring a bell, from what I am told, are Suraiya and Bilqis. So my mum, Prem Kalra, and my Khala, Nirmal Kalra, took him shopping. The other name that I mentioned was my Nana's friend, Muhammad Ali Chaudhry, who was the Prime Minister of Pakistan at one time. And once again, I mentioned my Nana's name, Sagar Chand Kalra. If anybody from Muhammad Ali Chaudhry's family recollects that name and is watching it, would be great to see if somebody gets in touch. And mentioning of names, two more names that I mentioned. One is my Khala's friend, my Khala Nirmal Kalra, a friend Hazra from Gujranwala. And the other name, my mum, Prem Kalra's friend, Famida from Imbermani. Famida was a Tehsildar's granddaughter. So those are the names that I recollect and I thought I'd share. Now coming back to this venture that so many people have got together and they're creating. All that I really want to say is कि खत्म कर भी डालो अब दास्ताने गम महमूद, चाहे कोई भी किस्सा हो रात भर नहीं कहते. It's time to amend things, it's time to forget things, it's time to move on, it's time to do stuff as people who have the right kind of mental makeup, who have the right kind of attitude, the love for each other. So it goes on and on and on. The generation, my parents' generation, my mother's generation who migrated are very few now. And people from my generation who had heard on the first-hand experience of people who made the transition are also going lower in numbers, So it is really happening that people would soon forget and people would not remember what happened. This platform is doing the right thing by bringing those people together, by bringing their thoughts together, by bringing their love for each other together. And I do wish this platform a success. And to finish it all, I would just say something that I heard in one of Nasir Turabi's thing. And what he says,
शाखे दिल फिर से हरी होने लगी देखो नसीर, ऐसा लगता है किसी का आशियां हो जाएगा. This I say because I hope this platform helps. For despite being on an Australian passport, it took me 13 months to get a Pakistan visa. Hope this platform simplifies issues like that and facilitates the travel between the two countries for people who'd love to travel.
I wish good luck to it. Thank you.
जो तुद पावे साई पलीकार, तू सदा सलामत निरंकार. ए वतन पाक वतन रूह रवाने एहरार, ए कि जर्रों में तेरे बूए चमन रंगे बहार, ए कि ख्वाबीदा तेरी खाक में शाहाना वकार, ए कि हर खार तेरा रू कशे सदरूए निगार, रेज़े अलमास के तेरे खसो खाशाक में हैं, हड्डियां अपने बुजुर्गों की तेरी खाक में हैं. पाई गुंचों में तेरे रंग की दुनिया हमने, तेरे कांटों से लिया दर से तमन्ना हमने, तेरे कतरों से सुनी किर्रते दरिया हमने, तेरे जर्रों में पढ़ी आयते सहरा हमने. क्या बताएं कि तेरी बज़्म में क्या क्या देखा, एक आईने में दुनिया का तमाशा देखा. पहले जिस चीज़ को देखा वो फ़ज़ा तेरी थी, पहले जो कान में आई वो सदा तेरी थी, पालना जिसने हिलाया वो हवा तेरी थी. جس نے گہوارے میں چوما وہ صبا تیری تھی، اولین رقص ہوا مست گھٹائیں تیری، بھیگی ہیں اپنی مسیں آب و ہوا میں تیری۔
ختم کر بھی ڈالو اب داستان غم محمود، چاہے کوئی بھی قصہ ہو رات بھر نہیں کہتے۔